Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another issue of Mortal Realms magazine. As per usual, if you like these videos, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys. I do reply to pretty much every comment that I possibly get, and it goes a long way to help the channel out too. So, without further ado, this week we're on issue 61, and we are greeted, of course, by some new scenery pieces, which is the altar and bridges from the Dominions of Sigmar range. Not bad bits and pieces. Personally though, if you are going to paint them up, I would spray paint them, personally. Save a lot of time, a lot of effort. If you spray them, you can't go too far wrong with it. Very, very easy to do. But ultimately, it is your decision, so have fun with whatever you choose to do with it. And of course, with it being issue 61, we are now entering the realm of fire, aka Aqshy. So, the Dominion of Sigmar and Stormvaults is what greets us on the inside pages. So the greatest treasures and the most dangerous creatures of the mortal realms are hidden in Stormvaults. These arcane prisons were forged in the Age of Myth by Sigmar himself and sealed for years, invisible and forgotten, until now. So, with Stormvaults, they are very, very enchanted places that Sigmar created with the help of Grungni, and they created these arcane vaults that are invisible to everyone, whether you are a god or a mortal or anything like that. However, with these, Sigmar even forgot where they are and lost their locations and everything like that. And with the vast surges that have came along throughout the age and since the Age of Myth, so through the Age of Chaos and now the current Age of Sigmar, after the Death Magic released by Nagash's good old Black Pyramid, some of these Stormvaults have now lost their enchantments that are keeping them hidden and safe, and now armies are battling over a lot of them to get the treasures and the power that is hidden inside. Some Stormvaults can be as large as cities, while others sometimes just as simple as a simple room. So they all vary, but it depends on what power is inside. So, talking of Aqshy though, there is one particular Stormvault, which is the Cloister of Ashes, and it is pretty deadly. Now, Cloister of Ashes has the Scourge, a deadly creature known as a Charon Hydra, is imprisoned there. Its cage is marked with magical runes of warding, keeping everyone away and keeping it safe inside. There is an Ember Serpent as well, which was summoned by arrogant mages a long time ago and eventually imprisoned by Sigmar, but not before it had destroyed the once great city of Tarascan. And then there are also 4 ancient fire sages that are also through magic. They are serving the God King and will do so forevermore, and they are also residing within the Cloister of Ashes itself. So it's not just monsters that are in there, it is also powerful mages that can be in there as well. And the Stormvault itself is surrounded by searing rivers known as the canals of the Great Maker, and within their deadly depths swim all manner of terrifying beasts such as magma krakens. So, of course, with it being a molten river, it is also known as lava, really. So, a molten rock river which is burning and brimming with fire and everything like that. So, not something you want to fall into if you're planning on releasing an Ember Serpent or anything like that into the world. With Aqshy though, of course, it is the realm of fire. So, who else would live there apart from the Fire Slayers? So, of course, the realms of Aqshy. Aqshy is a vast burning realm. It is here that Sigmar first lit the fires of hope by striking back at chaos. The realm has since become a vital foothold for his armies, though they are still threatened on all sides by chaos warlords, Orc clans and other mighty terrors. So Aqshy, the realm of fire, is a place of danger and opportunity alike. Like all of the mortal realms, it is a diverse place. The Great Parch alone contains snow-topped mountains, sweltering jungles, and volcanic wastelands. It is a harsh, difficult place that breeds tough people. So, with there, of course, it actually is very, very related to the good old Fire Slayers and their Urgold and everything like that, and the fact that they live in a lot of mountains. And with Fire Slayers, they are quite tough buggers. So they definitely suck kind of the people that would live there. So, Aqshy people, as in humans, normally live in tribes and conduct dangerous rituals like cliff diving and sulphur running. So they have a very, very strong worshipping of fire and everything like that as well, and being pretty nuts from the looks of it, and doing a lot of dangerous stuff. And yeah, so there are some fire cultists that run around there, whether they serve chaos or themselves, who knows, but yeah, as long as they're not up against the God King, that's going to be their main thing for them. But actually is a very interesting realm. One of the main stories that I've personally read from the Warhammer fiction is, of course, Realm Slayer, which is one of the Gotrik's books, and his first kind of foray into the mortal realms, where he is transported out of the weird portal that he was transported into in one of the last Gotrek and Felix books, where he left the world that was the old world and kind of took over Grimnir's place as a slayer, and has been endlessly slaying away the agents of chaos in their own realm, essentially, then until he was spat back out in Aqshy and everything. So, which is quite interesting stuff as well with that. You've got a page about chaos and the beasts of chaos, which you don't see much of the dragon ogres anymore, in all honesty. They've kind of been left behind. So dragon ogres don't really come into it much, but they are beasts of chaos themselves, and very chaotic in a long way. So they are, just shows how kind of nutty chaos can be with it, the way that they create everything and all that. So you do get dragon ogres. They are exiles from Azir, so they were, of course, bumped out of it. They are Thunderscorn and everything like that as well. So there are Dragon Ogre Shagoffs, and of course Dragon Ogres as well. So very, very fighty, very, very dangerous to go up against, and very unique and very, very different, which is quite interesting. Then we're getting more information about the realms, and this one is about the city of 10,000 tombs, which is Glimsforge. So Glimsforge was built by the settlers of Azir during the Age of Sigmar, and is a symbol of hope in an otherwise grim realm of Shyish. Since its founding, it has bravely resisted conquest by vampiric lords, hosts of spirits, and other unholy inhabitants of a realm of death. So, the city of Glimsforge is built around the Shimmer Gate, which is a realm gate that leads to Azir, and is a free city that was built to tame the wilderness and provide a new home for the lost Dwarven, elves and humans who survived the Age of Chaos. Glimsforge features quite heavily in a lot of it as well. It is built over the Stormcast of the Anvils of a Heldenhammer, Stormkeep, sorry, and it is also built on top of a massive, massive vault of kind of catacombs and everything like that sprawl underneath the city, housing thousands of souls of heroes and conquerors, peasants, nobles, everything like that as well. They all live under the city and very, very kind of watchfully looked over by a Lord Castellan, which is pretty cool. And the Soul Wars book features Glimsforge a lot and is quite interesting as well. So it's a very, very nice, interesting bit of piece as well. In the Soul Wars book, there is a major battle as well, which is the first one between Nagash and the Stormcast Eternals, the first major one anyway, where Vorgan Malandrek is named as the Knight of Shrouds, and he was once a brave defender of Glimsforge until he essentially just kind of gave up and betrayed his city. which is standard for most Nighthaunt. They are mainly betrayers. So yeah, but if you ever get a chance to read the Soul Wars book or listen to the audio book, definitely worth it. Very, very interesting story. Very cool as well. Yeah, how to build the Sigmarite altar and Stormvault altar and Sigmarite bridges. Very, very easy. Clip them out. Your braziers fit up very, very easily. You know, there are 2 of them, so do not forget to do both of them, but very, very simple. And the Stormvault and the altar itself is also extremely easy. Not going to take a huge amount of pieces. There are some pieces that you get that you do not need, including those little curved bits. They can come in later on for other bits and pieces from the bigger set. Whether we'll get that bigger set, I do not know, but they are from that range. So how to paint, there's some pretty decent ideas behind it. Using some Cantor Blue and some Norn Oil over certain pieces can be done. Entirely up to you if you wish to do it. You can make it look very, very nice. Doing the actual runes, because they are all the symbols of the different magic types, works really, really nicely. Not gonna lie, you can make it look fantastic. And the same with your painting fire. The way that they paint the fire in this magazine is actually really, really good, and is a very, very useful tip for painting flames if you wish to. Or if you want to paint it in a slightly different way, you can always go for green or something like that and make it look something different. Magical fire always looks pretty cool, but if you do it their way, it will look very much like that. And they've added a couple of braziers from one of the other sets as well onto there. But otherwise, you know, there's a lot going on with it. Of course, with them, it has got the little nodules, which is for the bridges to fit on. So you can do that if you wish to. Later on when you can get more bits and pieces, or if you buy a second episode, you could you could have a second one of them facing towards each other and have one of the bridges set up if you wish to as well, which isn't a bad idea. You've got a bit more about core rules here as well, which is about triumphs. So triumphs reward you for every victory in battle by giving you powerful single-use abilities. So more bits and pieces about the core rules and everything like that, which is always very, very good, whether you're using Inspired, Bloodthirsty, Indomitable or anything like that. And they're kind of unique, very unique rules and everything like that you can go for when you get a triumph. The battle plan is of course the first one in Aqshy, so it is Embers of War, and it is over the River of Fire itself, which has its own rules. So if you do have any kind of bridges, you can layer bridges over things like rail, kind of different areas, to kind of bridge the gap over lava flows and everything like that if you wish to as well, which is always pretty good. And if you are doing it, you have this battle map mat. You may not directly have that battle mat, because I think that is the battle mat from what we were meant to get most recently, which we did not, which I don't know about you guys, I didn't receive it. So yeah, but otherwise, yeah, it is what it is. Your choices are pretty easy as well. You've got 5 choices from the Nighthaunt Heroes list, so it is a heroes versus heroes kind of fight as well, so have fun with that. Very, very good fun. And you also get a pull-out bit, which is for Blazing Crusade, and is all to do with Aqshy, so it has that nice map as well, which is really, really cool, and all the different main areas, so from Chakrix, Folly, Hammerhall, Aqshy, Bostagi, Mont, Steel Spike, and the floating city of Batar as well as having some of the unique areas as well that are also listed on here, which is always pretty cool and always very nice to see. And of course we've got a lot of the information as well, whether it's for strongholds, so Hallowheart, Tempest Eye and Anvilgard, which are all locations in Aqshy. And yeah, very, very good stuff. And it's always nice to see some more artwork as well, which is always pretty cool. But lastly, of course, next week, schools. So yeah, so it's going to be about making custom objective markers. If you are going to make objective markers, you can use any spare bases you might have. Bung a load of schools on there if you wish to. Very, very easy, but I'll have some useful tips in that issue, but you don't have to follow it. You can kind of make it up as you go along. Issue 63, we get some Judicators, so more ranged Stormcast Eternals, 5 of them as well, which is pretty cool. They are nice units as well. They have these awesome long bows and these long arrows, which look absolutely amazing and are very, very cool. Looking forward to getting my hands on these. It's some Stormcast that I'm actually looking forward to. Very, very nice stuff. Right, that's it for this one. It's been a slightly longer one, but thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye now.